It's your boy Concert. It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started, and I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end, and then when Roy passed.
But Dave really, this is the thing, Dave has put, where Sean has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Shout out to everyone in Hillsborough County. Hit that like button. Pinellas County, what up? If you in Siesta Key, join them good beaches. What up? St. Petersburg, what up? Lakeland, what up? Tampa Bay, what's up? Hey, all my homies in Clearwater got that big pension and retired. What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34, and thank you guys for joining the stream tonight. I think I saw it in the chat here. It's a pretty standard festival set, but there's a couple things that I think brings this thing up a little bit that we should talk about. But I mean, pretty standard. I do have a little presentation of some data from the last couple of festivals after the pandemic. We have 5 festival sets with the full band. We'll go over here. What up, John, Kevin, George? John says, shout out to, listen, Duval County's on the other side of the Everglades. We had to shout out the local people. All right, respectfully. Respectfully, Jackson Kill. Shout out to the homie Florida boy Jay from Jacksonville, FBJ. Andrew number 34. What up? So we're gonna talk about this show. I'm hoping to get somebody on the line here that was at the show. If you were in the chat and at the show, let me know. Waiting to see. Waiting to see because I was trying to get someone on here, and I think they're in transit. What is this? Let's see what else we got. Back at you, 1999 says warm up show for sure. Yeah, I think my biggest thing, and I said this in some of the correspondence and comments from the Mexico weekend. We have this break, so they take this time off. We have this time off, and then they come back a month later, and it's kind of a rough thing if you're looking for anything special from the band to take this month off. And listen, this band, when they take time off and they have this gap in between, they may be practicing here and there for themselves, but they're not working as a band. And that's okay. That's what also keeps this band the way it is. This band needs its time away from the music, away from the D&B focus, in order to be happy. Carter loves golfing, right? Jeff loves teaching, right? Rashawn does his little side joints with the Grammys and some other performances that he does, right? So maybe some session work in there. Dave, I don't know what Dave does, but he does stuff, right? He does some solo stuff. He did Dave and Tim. Tim did Dave and Tim. Shane says typical festival sesh. May at best. George says lots of rust tonight. Yeah, I mean, again, this is why. And shout out to everyone. Fody was out there. That's DMB Daddy. Shout out to Fody. And shout out to Steven Rack and his wife, Megan Rack. They were out there. They came from the STL to go down to Florida. The other thing about this is it's pretty chilly for Florida standards in March. I just was in Florida for my honeymoon in February, and it was actually warmer. This is just a one-off day. This is the temperature in the middle of the show, 58 degrees. And for Florida in March, that's pretty low. Okay, that's a pretty low temperature for Florida. Now South Florida, like the Miami area, is like 10 degrees warmer, but even for the west coast of Florida, that's a low temperature for March. Maybe January, February, but March, that's kind of crazy. So this was a one-off. The rest of the week was pretty warm. Andrew 34 says surprised. No, I'm not surprised. I am not surprised at all. They take time off, right? They sit down for a month. And here's the thing about Dave and Tim. Dave and Dave by himself can do a lot more. We've seen in Mexico Something to Tell My Baby. Not that that's a hard song, but I knew they weren't going to play Monsters after a month off and then you try to work something in. They're going to need more time together. You're going to see that when they get to the Mexico shows, the full band Mexico. And then you have to Texas two-step. I didn't think that this band tours every year. Yeah, I just went to a John Mayer show, right? He has all this time to prepare and he has time off, although he does Dead and Company, but this band tours, but when it's not touring, it has a little bit of a buildup, right? It takes time. The crowd didn't pay $5,000 per head, so no Monsters. Right? And no busted stuff. Sorry. Although some of I'm sure there were some VIP packages that were close to $5,000. I wouldn't be surprised. Even some that aren't even sold on the site, but special hey, donors to this festival or special, people, they could probably pay for that. But yeah, when you have this time off, that's the story. You got a month off. I knew they were gonna have rust. It was gonna be rough. And we're gonna look later in the show as well at the run that they did for the Cosmopolitan in 2020, and then the next day they did Innings Fest in Arizona in Tempe. That was the original home base for this festival, and the festival's expanded. They have Tempe and they have Tampa. These are the spring training. The Cactus League is in Arizona, and the Grapefruit League plays all across the state of Florida, mostly central and southern Florida, just because, again, the weather. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so the person, yeah, and this is expected. This is the final day of the festival, and DMB's in town. So, person I'm trying to get on is waiting for an Uber. I want them to get in the Uber or get into wherever they're going, so that then they can take the call and not have to worry about that transportation. So let's look at the set here, right? So we got One Sweet World, When the World Ends, So Much to Say, Bridge, Too Much. Out of the first three, I think When the World Ends needs to stop being at festival shows and shows in general. It's probably played because it's a song that when you're this rusty or when you have time off, they just know this like the back of their hand. And that's really why this set is also this way. Think about it. When you haven't practiced anything, you go to what comes natural, what you memorized in any sort of profession, right? You just kind of go with those things. So that's part of why you get a lot of this stuff. It's easy to bust out by you. It's easy to bust out When the World Ends. It's easy to bust out So Much to Say, Bridge, Too Much. And Stefan knows that how to fill in that bass part and the transition and the bridge like the back of his hand. The bass parts and the playing and Crush, that's an easy song for them to play. Don't Drink and Sledgehammer, just easy songs. And just like spring training, all these bats are warming up, all the pitchers are warming up, the band is warming up. So you're gonna get it. It's like going to a spring training game. You may have it's fun, right? It's warmer weather if you're traveling from northern parts of the country, and you can get up and close with a bunch of different bands, just like you see a bunch of different teams, but you're not watching a MLB game. You're not watching an MLB playoff game. Even looking at March Madness, the games right now are totally different than the games in November, which are meaningless for a lot of those teams. They're not playing. Some of them they have some good tournaments by the time you get to like late November, but October, a lot of times you're playing cupcakes. This is a cupcake warm up set list. George says the band went down like a Met. Yeah. Yeah, their closer didn't their closer?
Bruh.
Their closer's out for the season, right? I believe their closer got injured in the World Baseball Classic for celebrating. Side note, I don't really watch spring training. I I I'm a huge ballpark guy, and one of these years I'll get down there just to see the ballparks, the spring training ballparks, like Fenway South. I'm a Yankees fan, but obviously Steinbrenner Field's right by this venue, right in between, right next to this lot is Steinbrenner Field where the Yankees have spring training. You got just south of here, Fort Myers, Fenway South, Bradenton, Sarasota. They all have all that stuff is on in the east and west coast of Florida, right? But so we're gonna hold off. I'm gonna give my guests a little bit more time. But When the World Needs to Go Away. Madman's Eyes, I'm fine with that. Fool in the Rain, I'm fine with that. Obviously, I don't like Bayou. Crush is all right. So Right is the highlight of this. So Right, Ocean and the Butterfly. Two best songs to me. First, So Right is just a song that is great. It's a song that I think a casual fan could appreciate, just the energy of it. And me as a fan who's not casual at this point, in the last decade of really diving deeper into this band, I love that song. So it's a song that can reach the diehards and the casuals alike. Ocean the Butterfly, I just love the vibes of it. I did listen in on this on Fody's, that aka DMB Daddy's live stream of that. Don't Drink the Water. I know people like this song. I, I don't like the current version of the song, and I think the intro just is a waste of time. The intro of Don't Drink the Water, like that type of timing and that type of style leading into What You Are or The Stone, I would love. Don't Drink the Water, absolutely not, trash. I just don't like this current version of Don't Drink the Water post the Roy Moore. And I've actually never heard it live during the Roy Moore era, but still, it's just this song. To me, this song has never been the same. Sledgehammer needs to go away. Space Between, whatever, casual set. Gray Street, all right, cool. You and Me, I don't like it, but I understand why they play it. Kill the Preacher, Tease, Why I Am, Ants March. To me, and the people I know that were down here, right? Either they live here, they're trying to escape. What outside of this night, they were trying to escape the cold weather. And so you go to this festival, you go because you want to see the other acts and DMB. So I understand why DMB fans I know went to this festival, because there were some other great things. Marcus Munford, Weezer, Pitbull, Avid Brothers. Although Avid Brothers were on a different, they were on a different stage than DMB was, which I would have been extremely upset about because I love both bands and I would love to be close for both of those. So I probably would have actually gone to the Avid Brothers closer and then just sat to the back of DMB because it's a cookie cutter set. I don't need to be close for this cookie cutter set, right? Why do I need to? I don't need to be rail for Bayou. Okay, I don't need to be.
Nope.
All right, I'm not. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I stayed in line for 5 hours just for that "Don't Drink the Water" intro.
Nope. No. Nope.
Yeah. But again, people are enjoying. Shout out to DMB Lauren and Mark, who are there. They're here. They took the kids down for spring training, and DMB was just a cherry on top, right? So I understand why people are down here. This is a spring break. If you're not in the South, this is one of the spring break weeks for for K through 12 in the South. Us East Coast folks, those spring breaks. If you're a teacher, you got kids, those are in April. But the South does them right now, in late March. So that's another thing. You have people that are coming down from parts of the northern parts of the South to Florida. Let's get to. I want to get to this PowerPoint, and see if we can do. I want to just break down some of these festival sets just to give you guys a better look at this. So this is DMB festival sets by your boy Conserviz 34. Did some data pulling tonight. We're gonna look at the post-pandemic full band set list, and we'll look at some the special 2020 like back-to-back shows there. I'm not including Summerfest. If you've been to Summerfest, I've been out last year, was my first time. Summerfest in Milwaukee. DMB plays a full. Ken Dog, do you want to come on? Ken Dog, let me know if you want to come on the stream. Message me on Instagram or Twitter. He says, leaving the set, great show for a festival. I would agree. This is a great, and I'll go into that in this data that I pulled. But yeah, Summerfest, if you don't know, I strongly would recommend Summerfest. I loved it, and I just went for Disturbed as the headliner. What they do is they have there's a lot of tours that come through, just like in the summer, they'll pull certain tours and say, hey, you go into this amphitheater, right? It used to be the Marcus Amphitheater. I think it's like Virginia. I think it's is it AmFam? I think it's American Family. AmFam is American Family Insurance is based in Milwaukee. They got the rights to the baseball stadium. I think they got it for the pavilion. But it's like, think of it. You have a regular show, regular headlining show, the openers like for Disturbed, Lamb of God, and I said a Trey. I almost said a Treyu. Chevelle and Lamb of God play in the main amphitheater. And on the side of Summerfest, you have outside of the amphitheater gates, you have regular festival gates, like any sort of county fair that you would have, right? And they have the BA is it BMO Pavilion, and then they have a smaller, like a Bud Light sponsored smaller stage. So you can get into this to the actual festival grounds for like $15. Some days it's like $10 or whatever. And then, but if you have a ticket to a show like I did, you go into the festival grounds and then you go into the main. You have to go into a second set of gates, so it's just separate. That's all I'll say. And D&B plays a full set. It's not casual fans. Everyone has to buy them. Yeah, Ken. Let me. I'll look. I'll message you, Ken. What's your name on Facebook? Because I'll look you up. Yeah, Ken. Tell me what's your name on Facebook, and then I'll message you in a second. So it says we are looking at all the post pin. Oh, I already went over that. Sorry. Okay, give me 1 second, Ken. Ken, are you a Warriors fan? I'm trying to. I think I have the right one. Are you a Warriors fan? Just let me know, and then I'll hit. Oh yeah, this is you. Oh, you sent. Okay. Yeah. Let me just. All right. I found you. I found you. Okay. All right. All right. I just sent you a message. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. We'll reach out to you. Um. Okay. So we're gonna look at these festivals: Innings Fest, Super Bowl Music Fest, Something in the Water, Pilgrimage, and Railbird. I'm not gonna go through them front to back. But we will look at the COVID year festival set list. So out of those 5 post-pandemic set lists, right? Ants Marching played at 5 of 5 shows. That's expected, right? 5 of 5 shows. And what you want to do at a festival is you want to play that hit. You want to play your number one hit, which to us is Ants. I mean, to me is Ants Marching. Some people may say Crash, but Ants Marching is just that one thing. So you play it, right? That's not a shocker. Sledgehammer played 5 of 5 shows. This is one that needs to go away. I understand what it does to casual fans, but I'm sick of it. And I think Fool in the Rain should replace it. We'll see where that lies in the data here in a second. Right? So much to say Bridge Too Much played at 4 of the 5 shows in the post-pandemic festival era. Full band, that is. Right? That can stay because I think Bridge gives you that Stefan moment. So Much to Say and Too Much are fun songs. Why I Am, YIM played 4 of the 5 shows. This is something that, while I would prefer, I don't think it's the best thing to play. I People love this song, and it does have that rock element. To me, you can draw people in with some of this kind of big whiskey rock, and YM is better than some of the other stuff if they had to choose. Madman's Eyes played 3 of the 5 shows, and really the only reason that is because it didn't debut until late 2022 in Columbus, Ohio. So the 2022 Railbird Fest, it wasn't played, right? And then it also, you look further down, um, it wasn't played until Columbus, Ohio, which was technically the fall tour. So I understand why it was not in anything in 21 or 22. So really, that's one that's promising, um, to keep in rotation, I believe, because it gives you that dark flair and energy. And but it's still fresh for the band. They love playing. They're not going to play the last stop, but Madman's Eyes will get that in it. It'll really show people, oh, DMB can be dark, because that's the biggest thing. When all you listen is radio DMB, you don't realize how dark and powerful they can be. Can't Stop played 3 of the 5 shows. Was not played tonight, right? I don't think it was played tonight. So that's good that it's going. I think this is gonna. I mean, who knows? At least it's not being played at festivals, like tonight. I would love for it to go away permanently. See you later. You and Me played 3 of the 5 shows. This is one I don't like, but I understand why it's played. You got a lot of couples. You may have people who never heard the band, and this is going to be a sweet love song that you can play. This is one of the last. This really was the last Grammy song. Like, they played it at the Grammy, so I get it, right? It's a festival show. It's not for the hardcore people like me who don't like this song. When the World Ends. This is what I mentioned earlier. This has to go. I don't see, like, even I know it's like the When the World Ends, we're gonna be burning one. I just don't see, like, I don't think new fans should be exposed to this. There's other songs you can swap in that have more universal appeal that aren't as meh as this song is. So Right was played at both of the 2023 festival sets so far. Super Bowl Fest, and then also this one. And I consider the Super Bowl show a festival show. They did play a good set there, but I consider that a festival. It was the Super Bowl Fest. So both of those got So Right. I believe this is a great song that the band can play fairly easily, and it should stay in concert rotation in festivals, right? Okay, yeah, I see my Facebook lighting up. I'll hit you up in just a second, Ken Dog. Once I get through this, and then we'll try to connect with you for this. And thank you so much for coming on, man. Like, I appreciate it. I know a lot of people they will need to leave the show and they're gonna go to bed, but you're gonna be on, so I appreciate that. So Right needs to stay. Ocean and the Butterfly. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Let me know in the comments. I love this song because it just adds more balance to the set list. I think the sax part is beautiful, right? I think it's a place for Jeff Coffin. Like, oh, hey, Jeff Coffin exists in this band, and I say that because I feel like he doesn't get as much sax. He's not. They don't highlight Jeff well enough. They don't highlight his playing style well enough. Obviously, Jimmy thing, you get that moment, but like, Jeff Coffin and the Stone, great showcase of that soprano sax, right? Jeff Coffin actually having a number 41 solo would be great. Ocean and the Butterfly takes care of that, and it's going to introduce the fans who never have heard this band to what Jeff Coffin brings and really what the sax means to DMB. And Fool in the Rain played at both festival shows. I believe this song, and I've said this in the previous last year, this song should replace Sledgehammer, should be Sunset, right? You guys have projects, you have different if you guys work in any sort of customer service or sales, use sunset programs. they need to sunset Sledgehammer, and Fool in the Rain should be played. I think it's a great cover. It brings energy. If you know the song, you love it. If you don't know the song, you love it. I was not very familiar with Fool in the Rain when I was at Alpine shooting the video you guys saw in the intro. I'm gonna keep it 100. I love Zeppelin, but really, Zeppelin 1, Zeppelin 2, and Zeppelin 4, and what Houses of Holy and Physical Graffiti. Those are like the main ones. Zeppelin 3 is alright, but like those are the ones, when when I was learning to play guitar and I was listening to these albums over and over to get inspired and, figure out what the greatest, the greatest people did. I just, I don't, I just, Fool in the Rain just wasn't one of those ones that I know. And listen, I didn't grow up on, like, I wasn't around, right? I was born in 1990. So, I mean, this stuff is before my time, but that's with the classic rock, that the stuff I didn't know about. Like, oh, that's Zeppelin. But it's a fun song. All right. BC Drum says, Ocean and the Butterfly drives the sluts, in my opinion. When the vibe is moving along, the song doesn't work. I can understand that. I go to show, right. George says it'd be a great E1 mid set. I can see what you're saying. Mid set, it doesn't work. Me personally, I just love that acoustic percussiveness of it. And the shows now, like, I'm much more laid back at shows. I'm excited, but like, when when I first started going to shows a decade ago, it was much more like high energy. Yeah. Now I just kind of chill back. I kind of enjoy. I like more of the quiet stuff. Concert is over. It is raining, and one of our guests is waiting. Oh, Ken, I see your note. I see your note. Okay. So I'm going to call you in just a second. Give me one moment. We'll wrap this up. This little PowerPoint. Okay. So this is Vegas. I want to talk about this Vegas 1-2, Vegas Tempe run. Now, this is the exact opposite of what they did tonight. They had a Vegas special show at an intimate venue, which really makes it even more like a practice, right? Because you have a smaller Chelsea at the Cosmo. Usually they're at MGM, right? You got the new T-Mobile, which was still, I believe T-Mobile was around in 20, I believe, yeah, because the Vegas Knights were already part of the league, yeah. So T-Mobile Arena was around in 2020. They didn't play there. MGM is still around. They do a lot of auxiliary concerts where actually they got the new Spear going out there in Vegas. But anyway, T-Mobile, you got the Thomas and Mack Center, UNLV running Rebels home base, the NBA Summer League home base is at the Thomas and Mack. So you have some venues that have like over 8,000 seats, but Cosmopolitan's like around what, 3K? Like it's under 5K for sure. But they play this show. What this does is this was a DMB show, destination show for fans. So they bust out Beach Ball, they bust out Sweet Up and Down, they bust out the Riff. And this is a great show, right? And you get a Sweet Up and Down to Ants Martin. So they play this show. The next day, they do an Innings Fest. Now, part of this festival thing, and I don't dispute this, although I always will push for more deep cuts. This is the first Innings Fest that DMB does, and I believe it was the first year of Innings Fest. They start off with Don't Drink the Water. Okay, I get it, right? It is what it is, right? And you're also in Arizona where there are tribes that have various, still have land. But many of they lost the most valuable land is obviously been developed for, modern Americans consumption. So you start off with that. But this show, The Riff, which is number 9, and also Sweet Up and Down, which is number 14 on this set. Those were played the night before. They were tested. The kinks were worked out the night before. They probably practiced 2 nights before this right before the Chelsea show at the Cosmopolitan, and you have two songs that you could walk away. Yeah, you don't get Beach Ball. Yeah, you don't get some other stuff, but you get the riff and you get Sweet Up and Down. And these songs hadn't been played for a while. Also, noting this, and I didn't look at this, now I'm looking at it now. And this is my thing with Ocean the Butterfly. I'd rather have Ocean the Butterfly than Come Tomorrow. Okay. I'd rather have Ocean the Butterfly or Madman's Eyes than Samurai Cop. Right. I'd rather have that than Cornbread. So even this set, like I like they ended on Gray Street, but like that's one of the things with Ocean and the Butterfly. I think of it as a new song that's going to replace um it's going to replace some of these trash songs like Samurai Cop, which I love the idea of Samurai Cop. Bruh, it don't translate live. It was cool like the first 4 or 5 times, but now I'm like I don't need it live. Come Tomorrow needs to go in a ditch. They need to dig a ditch.
Bruh.
Song. Great idea. Horrible execution of the song. Horrible lyrics. Some of the worst lyrics Dave's ever had.
Bruh.
So I say all that to say that um you do get a couple extra things here. Yeah, 228 is one of the best shows in recent years. Although some of the stuff from last year really, the last 2 years have kind of, they really did bring a lot of stuff back. But yeah, it's one of that beach ball, man. So yeah, that's what I said. Like, right. There's promising trends. Fool in the Rain, Ocean Butterfly. I love. Oops. And I love those at festivals and should be played. Um, I love the Sweet Up and Down and the riff, like those deep cuts in 2020. Just adding those two just makes it even more worth it to go. So if they do something where they have a special one-off show and then the next day they do a festival, if they do this again in the spring or the winter, if they do February or March, and during a regular tour, hey, right, they already have that. They're already in their motion. But this is a tricky thing, playing in March, playing in February. I'd rather have the band not play at all and rest up and do what they do to be happy, spend time with their family than do this. So that's how I feel. Thank you, support Consummate 34, Instagram, Twitter. All right, that's cool. That's all flying jiggy. Let's get to a call here. I'm gonna call Kenny here in just a second. Okay. I'll see. I'm sending you the area code. So that way like, yeah, it's coming from me. It's not a scammer. All right, so let me call him and see. Let me set this up. Thank you guys for your patience, because again, this is a tough show to leave. A lot of people like I was trying to get Daniel on. It is hard to leave this right now because it's raining and everyone's trying to get an Uber. By the way, if you're able to do this, although I'm sure it's a disaster there right now with the ride sharing and public transit. You guys probably know this, but if you have Uber or Lyft, you can schedule a ride in advance. I did that on my honeymoon before we went to a hockey game, Panthers game, and I needed to get back to Miami Beach. And I scheduled one in advance. Listen, I paid whatever it was. It was a low, pretty penny. But the dude was there. We left the game like right in the last 3 minutes because just to get to the Uber, and it was like, so if you try to schedule things in advance, it definitely helps. You may have to pay, but the surge pricing and all that stuff is a thing. So if you are traveling to DMB shows, I mean, most of you guys probably know this anyway, but I will recommend if you're going to something, get that Uber schedule in advance and tip that driver, man. Tip the driver. All right. All right, we're gonna call Kenny. right now. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Kenny?
Marcus. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. So tell us about this show. What did you think?
Well, I driving into the show from Daytona Beach today. I was kind of thinking, this is my first festival show I've actually been to for the band. And, I adjusted my expectations accordingly. I know that you're not going to find a lot of deep cuts at shows like this. So, I was kind of, I knew what I was signing up for. And I was thinking driving in, I'm like, I narrowed it down to like 2 songs to open with, either Don't Drink the Water or One Sweet World. And sure enough, got One Sweet World. So.
Yeah. Oh, so you're driving across. Was that 4?
Yeah, I'm
Driving
on
across.
right now. I'm in Lakeland, getting close to Orlando. But yeah, I'm so glad I went to the show, man. It's just nice to see the band this early in the year. And my last show was in Virginia Beach last summer. I just moved down to Daytona Beach about a month ago, so I'm gonna get some new venues to check off the list this year for sure.
Yeah, you got West Palm Beach just down 95, and then
Oh yeah.
you can try to go north to some of that. But yeah, so talk about the sound of the band with this break. Was it anything seem off? Was there any sort of concerns or breakdowns in any of the songs?
Yeah, I know they got the new sound system last fall. I think they rolled out the fall tour from the Grateful Dead on the stage. It's been fantastic. I mean, we were coming into the set. It's right across from Raymond James where the Bucks play.
Yeah,
and the wind was blowing really hard away from the way we were walking in, so I really didn't hear. Like I think better. Third Eye Blind was playing, but I mean, it just didn't sound that loud. But I knew they were going to turn it up. I mean, obviously the band Dave's got the best equipment in the business, and professional done. But I thought the sound sounded great as always, but they were off a little bit. Like Dave, like Don't Drink the Water, just missed a couple verses here and there, and like that. I feel like the band's kind of had to compensate, make up for it, And I mean, it's like the spring training, man. They're down in here in the spring training, Bill, so they might as well have to warm up too,
Yeah, that you're right. It's a hard thing to come back in front of thousands of people after having a month off, and before that, your entire holiday season. So, was there any other bands that you were also looking to see outside of DMB?
Oh man, not really. I mean, listen, man, this is my 41st show today.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Yeah, like I said, I was born and raised in Virginia Beach, and that was my home venue. And it's amazing how I just moved down to Daytona, and it's the first time in like 20 years Virginia Beach is on the summer tour, not even Bristow. So I'm glad I'm down here. I can check some new venues off the list, and I don't have to miss sitting in Virginia Beach and having Dave come through. So
Yeah, and I don't know if you heard that the venue caught on fire.
they did. Yeah, I heard about that, man.
So it's almost like, hey, if there's a year to take off, I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine, but eventually, but if there's a year to take off and not have to worry about if they're going to postpone or be impacted, this is the year. But yeah, it's great that you moved down to Florida, and congrats on the 41st show. What was your?
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I would say, I'm a fan of One Sweet World. I mean, first show was like '96, and I heard that back then, and I just really missed the intro, the instrumental to it. It's one of my favorite pieces of music the band's ever put out. It breaks my heart every time they just go into it without that.
Absolutely. That's it. That's like enhances the song, just like how some fans, The Last Stop doesn't have that kind of, it's been truncated and cut off before you can have that awesome outro. So I agree. I've never heard One Sweet World with that intro that Dave does. It definitely changes it.
Maybe we'll see it one day again. I think he has a habit of kind of what goes around comes around, and I mean, I feel like it was they were introducing some new stuff. I mean, I believe it was. Let me pull it up. I'm the Setlist. I want to say at the end, pretty much NS marching, not mistaken, they each literally had a piece at the end that they all spotlighted each other on.
Okay.
Either that or Gray Street, but they literally like Dave steps aside, and I know it wasn't Ants marching because I believe it was Gray Street.
Really?
And of course, they
Wow.
put You and May. You and May was on there, so
Yeah.
wasn't not a huge fan of that. But you know, I kind of figured we were gonna get something like that. But I mean, honestly, man, this was I've seen a lot of shows, and I know it wasn't going in against the cuts, but I'm really impressed. You know, overall the set list. I mean, it's obviously for us diehard fans. You know, it's just the average set, but I mean, the energy was fantastic tonight. Dave was, you know, talking to the extra social. I mean, he was just jumping around. I mean, he was like, you know, it's like, it's not, that's what happens when you don't have 50 tour dates in front of you, behind you, and you're not trying to get to the finish line. This was a one-off show. He probably came into Tampa, spent a couple nights, and get out. I mean, it's got to be the life, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really think though that So Right and Ocean and the Butterfly, I caught. I mean, you were there. I caught the live stream of those songs, and
Yeah.
I really feel like that's something that's been missing from festivals outside of, you know, obviously they played So Right. They played both in Arizona, but that's the last couple of years to have something like that, those two unique songs in a set. That's definitely more than what you're getting from the band at the typical festival set prior to 2023.
You know, and I must say, you know, certain songs kind of rotate in and out for me as far as just getting back to them and listening to them. But So Right's really starting to grow me a lot more than it did. Like, I wasn't the biggest fan.
Mhm.
I mean, I bought the album when it came out in 01. You know,
Right.
I listened to all this stuff, man. It's been first show was like 96, you know, at the amphitheater. I mean, I'm just spoiled because I get back then I got a 41 opener, I got Cry Freedom, you know,
Right.
all that we'd love to have. But it's So Right. I mean, it's just the way it comes out. I mean, it was a very crisp version of it tonight, and the people around the crowd was loving it, man. I mean, there was some real. I always like going solo to the shows. I mean, I brought somebody with me for show tonight too, but I just love going just to meet all the people that have the same positivity. And I mean, because I figure people, and maybe a festival's a bit different, but if you go to one of their scheduled shows on the tour, I mean, they obviously love the idea of Dave, like I do, like-minded people. It's great being around that.
Absolutely, and I agree. Most shows I'm going by myself, and I just have, you know, I find people to tailgate with. I see people there that I didn't know you're going to that show, and I think it's a great thing. What would you say? Like, what percentage of the crowd like was kind of like seemed like they loved Dave, they were into it versus like people who seem casual?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, more than I thought, actually, for this festival show. I mean, obviously, the lineup today wasn't, you know, they had Abbott Brothers, we're going to call it, you know, Third Eye Blind. We were walking in when they started, but, you know, Mumford. But, I mean, everybody was there to see Dave. That place just got packed in. Matter of fact, we, after Mumford got off stage, you know, we were not in the direct area, but we went back in and moved up as close as possible. I'd basically say I was right in the center, like right just about maybe 3 feet looking at Dave to my left. So, I mean, we're pretty much center, but like if you're taking an amphitheater, I would say if you know, the pit's going to be so big, I would say I was probably in section 102, like right in the center, maybe halfway up the 100 section. So it was really good for a festival. I didn't think I'd be anywhere near that close, but it really got, and I was standing there an hour before Dave came on. There's people, you know, that were there all day at 1 o'clock standing on the rail, but you know, great time. I mean, I met some people. We're going to link up and go to West Palm and see them. I just love the community, man. I would say, answer your question though, I would say a lot more than I thought. I mean, everybody around me was singing the lyrics to almost everything, and tons and tons of old school T-shirts. And you know, I used to go to Charlottesville and see them back in the day, man. It's just, it was a lot more charisma, I would say, much more excitement to see the band than you know, just some lazy festival kind of thing. You know, it was really good, actually.
And that's always interesting because I feel like sometimes some of the message boards and forums, they're great ways to connect, but it's such a small percentage of the community where when you go to the show, like you go to this festival, I went to Sound on Sound last year for Dave and Tim, you start to realize that, wow, there's a lot of fans that may not be on these message boards, but that are at shows that
Yes.
just love this band. They don't, hey, yeah, we all know, yeah, they're not going to have the show of the year tonight in Tampa or last year in Bridgeport. It's not Mexico, Dave and Tim, but people just love traveling to see this band. So it's definitely a great point as far as, like you said, that there's a lot of fans that just love to see this band and that will they'll show up.
I'm just so grateful that after, like I said, started in '96. This is my 27th year going to see the band, and it's just great that there's still that love for DMB out there, and
Yeah.
that people, whether there was a huge mix of people, young, older, people bringing their kids that like were jamming with them in the '90s. But I was around two people that was their first show. They were having a
Awesome.
ball. Obviously, Bad Man's Eyes and other songs, they didn't know it, but I was standing with some people that knew every word to it. So like that's my kind of people, man. But I don't know, man. It's just Dave Matthews Band has been so much to me. Just all the hard times, all the good times in life. I mean, I owe a lot to the band just for everything they've done for me. I know I've invested a lot into them. I usually try to get as good as I can. The tickets, man, like the seats of the pit. But this was, it really was a great experience tonight, man. I was so stoked to go.
Awesome. And as far as the setup, was there like a GA and VIP? How was it broken down as far as where
there
you could
was? Yeah, there was. I mean, it's VIP was ridiculous for the day, so I just got general admission. But yeah, if you walk up to the stage, if you're looking at the stage to your left side, there was like a barrier, and then on the other side was where the VIP people were. They were kind of off the side of the stage, but there wasn't as many people in it. But I was really surprised about how many people showed up. I mean, look, I bought tickets on Ticketmaster for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yesterday. I didn't want to. I normally just get them on StubHub the day of, like right before the show. But
Yeah.
they didn't have any on there because it's a festival. It's general admission.
Yeah, so they just kind of close. Yeah, it's not. You don't get the deal when there's individual seats. Yeah.
You assign seats, right? Exactly. So, but no, I looked at the tickets a couple days prior just to make sure we still had them, and then it's literally worth like $20 the day before the show. That means obviously more people probably more demand, and I've never seen anybody raise the price once the tickets are out on that. So I know it's not the dynamic price is one thing. This wasn't the dynamic in play, but this was just it went up because they could, I guess. A lot of people were showing up.
Yeah, and sometimes what they do is they have an early bird fee. Like if you can buy the tickets before the announced guests. You can buy them as a pre-sale, and they kind of tier it where if they sell X amount of tickets, they jump the price up closer to the event.
So I'm talking literally like 2 days ago. I looked at the price. And
really?
It changed the day before the show went up.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That was very shocking.
So that's a pretty quick
problem. I mean, but it's just very odd. I'm a big, event person. I do a lot of homework, and I know when to buy the tickets, and I just went on there because this is general admission anyway. But really shocked to see it went up almost $20 overnight from a standard Ticketmaster.
Gotcha. So it's good to know. So if you guys are going to Innings or other festivals, I know some festivals do that too, where the day of the like just because they know people will show up, the day of the show or the day before the show, like night one, the prices sometimes do hop. So just be on the lookout if you guys are going to festivals for DMB or elsewhere. But I just want to say thank you for coming on, Kenny. And
by the way, I will say this, man.
Yeah.
Not the biggest Bayou fan, and I know you aren't either.
Yeah. That
probably was the best version of Bayou I've ever heard, whether it's live in person or on YouTube, man. It was a great Bayou tonight. Tons of energy. People were going off. I mean, I was really surprised.
So just the energy, anything they played, any like Buddy? What was
Buddy's really, what my opinion is? I mean, Buddy Strong has injected this band with so much energy. They feed off of him. He's a little bit younger, perhaps.
Yeah.
But he's given this band that has so many tour dates a year. I think it's making them fun again, man. I really am glad Buddy Strong's back on board.
Yeah. No, I say that, and there's that debate about we need a violin back or we want someone back. But to me, he's like either like I think of Tim Duncan with David Robinson, or I think of Jordan Poole with the you're a Warriors fan, yeah. So you yeah, so like I think of when you may say this piece of the pie would make me happy, but for this band or for a team, right? Oh, I want this player in free agency, but they're not the chemistry's not Russell Westbrook's not going to work, right? He's not going to work on this team. You need to like you don't want to even waste your money on him. I feel like he is that younger player that's in he's got all this talent and energy, and it's flowing off of everyone else, and whether they have a violin or not, whatever they do, this band would not exist past 2018 in the way it is without Buddy, and this band in the future will not. It needs Buddy Strong to have that joy every night. Otherwise, it's gonna look like some of the other classic rock bands that just don't put on that show. They have meltdowns on stage. They break up. Buddy keeps everybody happy, and I think
it's the word out of my mouth, man. The word joy is exactly what I was going to say. The joy in the band, because if you're going to put on a great live show every night, I mean, it's like we're human. I mean, they have an off night. The day they get to sleep, or Jeff didn't, shave his, mustache or something.
Yeah.
Or his beard. But no, man, it's just great. I'll tell you. And I know you've been to a lot of. I think you went to MSG night too, right?
Yeah.
Past fall. I mean, when he comes out, people are chanting for him on his side. It's amazing how much support he's got.
Oh yeah, he surpassed. I mean, you think about Rashawn and Jeff, and listen, we appreciate them too. I mean, they have their roles. Without them, this band probably doesn't exist. But there's just something, like you said, his energy, and also just the moment. You talked about how throughout your life, DMB, as you remember those moments. He met this band when they literally were probably going to just either break up, take a hiatus, or just play but not be happy. Like they'd be playing, but you weren't going to get the same level of joy and excitement. So
I heard that they were going to break up right before, obviously before Grubrux, and when he died, they were talking about Dave was going to quit the band, and somebody told him that, but who knows, man? But I'm glad they met up when they did, because they really put a great show on. Still, I mean, this is Dave's amazing, man. It's just,
I mean, Grubrux. There was a point during the Busted Stuff sessions. I believe it was Carter. During the Crash sessions, Steve Lillywhite had to talk Dave, and he just said this last year on Records and Riff, Matt Norlander's podcast.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, he said after Crash, Dave was not comfortable with the level of fame they reached. He was afraid to kind of lead the band in, and he was going to be like, after Crash, he was going to have his solo career, because it just was so much to have all those moving parts. And Lillywhite talked him into staying with the band, and Roy was instrumental when they had some breakdowns.
Masterpiece out.
Yeah, Roy was
probably the greatest album in history records.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of times, but that's why Buddy Strong is the latest. He's the latest kind of turning point where the band kept going. So, hey, thank you for being on, and have a good rest of your night. Safe travels back across the Florida to get over to Daytona Beach.
And man, listen, thanks so much for what you do, because as diehard fans, it's so awesome to have a place you go after the show to analyze and break down the show like they would a football game. So I eat it up, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you for supporting it. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy.
All right, bye. All right, so thank you to Kenny. And let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna try to see. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to see if Daniel. Let's see. Okay. Actually, what we'll do is we'll get to Dan in another show, because I'm sure he'll have some other stuff. Because right now we're at the hour mark. Um, but great perspective from Kenny, and again, he's been seeing the band since '96. Moved from Virginia Beach to Florida, and Virginia Beach is near and dear to my heart because my dad's from there, so I love that area. And it's sad they don't have a show this year. That's typically they would play that barn or that shed, and then they would typically Bristol or somewhere else. Even in the older days, Richmond may get a show. Charlottesville obviously was their hometown. So it's sad to see that they don't have that there, but now he's going to transition. But it's that's a great perspective about he goes to Kenny goes to the show, he makes new friends, he's gonna meet up with them for the other Florida shows. And even when I went to Sound on Sound, I think you can look at the set and criticize it all at once. One thing I've grown about is, listen, a lot of times these type of shows, it's just the camaraderie. You meet new fans, you help new fans, you meet older fans, especially someone like me who's I'm a decade or 11 years into going to shows. And I love talking to fans like Kenny from the 90s when I'm at a show. Like, hey, what was it like? What was your experience? What do you feel like going to shows since 95, 94? What do you feel about the current state of the band? I love that type of stuff. And the other thing too is when I Sound on Sound, I was with family. Like those guys, I know it's Chiefs DMB fan. I know it could be Chiefs, but like it was just people I really love to hang out with, and meeting some friends of friends who now since then if I see them at a show, I know them now. So it that's really what a lot of this is about. And yes, if you didn't go, cool. I didn't go either. And listen, if I would have flown down from Connecticut for some 55-degree weather, I'd be a little upset too. Now, I probably would have still enjoyed myself here because, again, the people, a lot of great people I know that were here. But this was not something I was going to invest in personally. Maybe next time. I don't know. But for the people who did, there's obviously reasons why. And at least the one I credit the band, they telegraph. Listen, if you want a festival, you better be going to meet new friends, to check out a place like Kenny driving. He's in Florida now, checking out just to see what's going on. You got to have other motivations other than I want a great set list, because you're not going to get a great set list. But tonight, Ocean the Butterflies, So Right to Me are just great add-ins. In my opinion, everything else is pretty standard, but fans are won at festivals. You win fans over at festivals, especially some of the ones like this one is more D&B based, right? You got the old school baseball players. You got some of the bands, Third Eye Blind, same fans who were in the Third Eye Blind. A lot of them were in the D&B, right? That same 90s era. Avett Brothers, again, they have an older fan base as far as people in their 40s. And that's people who also are in the DMB. And I love the Avett Brothers. I saw them and actually met a DMB fan for the first time when I saw them in New Haven last year. So it's just, I think a lot of this, it's like I said, we can all point to the set list and say how bad it was or how mediocre it was, but people go for different reasons. But yeah, also shout out to if you're watching the channel and you joined because of the John Mayer video, thank you for the support. It is I have found a new lane, a new calling in the sense of this John Mayer video hit 10K in 48 hours in less than 72 hours. Boston video, and I may put another video out about this because John Mayer's management is trying to stop. Oh, it's at 11K. It's at 11K right now, guys. The John Mayer community just amazing. Um, is let's see. Yeah, this is. I mean, I'm overwhelmed with the response. So yeah, Madison Square Garden night two for DMBs at 10K. John Mayer at the Garden from Monday is already at 11K. And the DMB show has 3 months of being on here. The John Mayer show is literally like less than a week. It's not even a week since the show. It was last Monday, and I uploaded it 3 days ago. It's got 11K. So I will be trying to get you guys more full videos for DMB. I also will look to get help from you guys out there who take videos. I appreciate people who live stream, and I don't want to knock that, but this band isn't, or I think it would be beneficial for more people to capture a song or a couple of songs front to back, horizontal, not the landscape for Instagram. Although again, I appreciate what's on IG. I have a lot of love for the IG crowd, but we do need more people capturing these DMBs. Now, if they ever, if the, and again, I'm hopeless on this, but if the band, like when they broadcast, they have those special broadcasts every now and then. Oh, it's been a while. Like that's one thing. If the band did that, I wouldn't even take these videos. I may get some footage for the shows, post show stream, because I can't use the rights of DNB. Certain things I can't do if it is a stream. But I would just sit back and enjoy the show. But the reality is with John Mayer and with DNB, they don't have any sort of way for us to watch this. And both DNB and John Mayer, especially John Mayer, there just isn't enough live high quality shows that you can watch even on DVD. It's mind boggling that John or Dave has not released more DVDs. Or no, sorry, Blu-ray, whatever. Or you just pretty much stream, like I could buy a digital streamable 4K HD or whatever. It's wild because I would pay for it. I know a lot of people would pay for it, and this is my call. Like John Mayer's management is trying to shut down live, and I get that if it's a live stream, whatever. But I want to get these videos out to the people because these concert tickets are expensive. I'm grateful that I can afford these. Right, I'm blessed, and there was a time when I couldn't afford to go to shows. Right, so I'm grateful for that. But there's a lot of people that just can't make it. They got families, they got work that clashes with these shows, and they have busy seasons during concerts, so they can take time off now, but they can't take it off during the summer. So I understand that in the comments, the feedback, the messages. Thank you to everyone who looked at those videos. From I have some individual and some other stuff. So what I want to do, I want to close out with real. Like I said, we'll get to that later. But thank you to the John Mayer family. It's been dope, and I think what's cool about John Mayer, just like uh, Kenny saw DMB in '96 with Crash. To me, I got into John Mayer around Continuum, which I guess would be technically a little later in his timeline. But as far as his mainstream popularity, I joined like kind of early on with John Mayer, or when he started blowing up. So Room for Squares, Heavier Things, and then Continuum, and which I guess is more like Before These Crowded Streets. But uh, Dave did have Remember Two Things, which technically I know it's not a studio album. Remember Two Things, Under the Table and Dreaming, and then Crash. So yeah, so I've been able to see, like, even at the show that past Monday, some 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 dudes who just got out of college or were in college learning guitar like I was 10, 15, no 10, no, about 12, 13 years ago when I was in college learning guitar. They're doing the same thing in 2020 to 2023. They were saying during the pandemic I played. So it's great to see new fans hop in, fans who are hopping into John like I hopped into Dave later on in his career. Just great to see. And so what we'll do, we'll close out with this wheel. We'll close out with wheel. Yeah, we'll close out with wheel. And what's dope about this tour, John is playing songs he hasn't played in years. And John mixes up his set list a little bit less than DMB because he also tours less, but he's mixing up he's throwing these deep cuts, and this was one of them. This was Wheel. Here, give me. Whoops, what's going on? Let me just get this. Okay. Don't forget to hit the like button. Definitely comment, subscribe. Don't know if I'm doing the Mexico shows. I may just do commentary on them. If you are going to Mexico, let me know. If you are in Mexico and are going to shows, let me know. I definitely will be doing, we'll be back for the Texas two-step for sure. And more D&B content, more John Mayer content. My goal is to get more live shows up here. Not live, but obviously record the video footage, process it, try to see if anyone else has footage, and we're going to get these full shows up, because to me, this is I became a fan of Dave Matthews Band to the level, like I listened to them, I liked them, I knew of their hits, but Copper Pot was instrumental. His videos were instrumental into why I'm here right now, right? Watching John Mayer videos when I was younger, watching Almond, like just all these taper audios and videos, and my boy Zach, who does DMB stuff, helped me to get a power bank so I could record that John Mayer video. We were both at John talking DMB. I record these videos because I want to promote these artists, and I want fans to feel happy and fulfilled by these videos, because like I said, there was a time when that's what got me more into these bands. Coming back from shows, okay, oh, Copperpot has this thing on here, or oh, I missed this show in Hartford Night 2 2012 and it was amazing. So I'm never going to miss a Hartford show within my ability to go to a show without injury or sickness, right? So yeah, that's it. Hey, under 2 hour post show stream, man. Look at that growth. Look at that growth. DMB family, I will be back when this tour comes back. I will have some other videos like my Mercy Makeover, Extreme Makeover Mercy Edition, and with the John Mayer stuff, I may look at some of the tour stuff and get some videos up on that. But again, thank you guys for the support. Let me get out of here. Listen to Wheel by John Mayer right now. I hope you guys enjoy this.
Got your heart, let's move it along. And you know that airport, see it all the time. miss someone's last goodbye, blending with someone's style, 'cause someone's coming home in endless staples, and that's the way this wind keeps working out. That's the way this wind keeps working out, and I won't be the last. No, I won't be the last to love her. Yeah. You can't fill the house of leaves and just lay there. It's American. It's just a season thing. It's just this thing the seasons do, and that's the way this wind keeps working out. That's the way this wind keeps working out, and you won't be the first. No, you won't be the first to love me. Yeah. You can't find me if you ever want again. I'll be around the bend. I'll be around the bend. I'll be around. I'll be around. And if you never stop when you wave goodbye, you just might find if you get the time, you're gonna wave hello again. You will always wave hello again. That's gonna hurt like hell. But that's the way this wind keeps working out. That's the way this wind keeps working out. You can't love too much one part of it. You can't love too much one part of it. You can't love too much one part of it. You can't love too much one part. I believe that my life's gonna see the love I get all return to me. I believe that my life's gonna see the love I give return to me. I believe that my life's gonna be the love I give return.